just want to let you know that in principle, Zarathustrian Assembly does not emphasize rituals. Our mission is to spread Zarathustra's philosophy based on his Gathas. However, we did have people coming to us asking questions about rituals. Some of us are new Zoroastrians, we're not born into this faith. We have questions about various rituals, so we thought we will invite Mobedyar Bhujwala to come in, talk a little bit about basic rituals.
Alexa, stop.
And please, would you be able to mute yourself? Thank you so much. So we have invited Mobedyar Bhujwala to come in and talk to us. He's going to make an introduction of himself and talk for 20 minutes or so. After that, you're welcome to ask your question. Please raise your hand when you ask questions. We ask you to limit your question to one question, especially if other people are having questions, and then we circle back for your second or third questions. But to give everybody time to talk, we ask you to please ask one question and limit your comments to 2 minutes. You can also leave your comments in the chat and we'll get to that. Does that make sense? Is it good?
Good.
Okay, great. Mobedyar Bhujwala, the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for inviting me. Recently I was giving a little presentation at the Interfaith Awareness Week organized by the World Interfaith Center, and I always enjoy sharing with people whatever information I have. So anyway, I myself was born in Bombay, at the time called Bombay, now called Mumbai, India, in a Parsi Zoroastrian family. We are called Parsis in India after we migrated because we were from Persia. As you know, Pars is the province from which the rulers like Cyrus the Great and all that came, and so they call us Parsis. And of course, I grew up in a traditional Parsi family, not a priest family, but my father used to work in a bank, and of course, in those days, the women were not allowed to work. Only the father was the one breadwinner and all that. But I had my grandmother from the maternal side, from my mother's side, and we grew up in a somewhat of an integrated neighborhood in Mumbai. We had Hindu, Christian, Muslim. Of course, Parsis were probably a dominant of that particular area of Mumbai. A lot of Parsis used to live in that area, and I went to infant school, which was principal was a Parsi lady, and then transferred to a high school, Catholic high school, St. Xavier's, and went to college in Mumbai, and then went to engineering school in a town called Baroda, near Bombay, north of Bombay a little bit. And I worked in a municipal corporation for a little while, and then I came to America for doing my master's in engineering at a University of New Mexico, Albuquerque. And then I came to California and basically started working. I almost got deported, in the beginning because I was on a student visa. And after I interviewed one company, the HR people contacted immigration according to their procedure. And the immigration guy was pretty much very, almost to the point of rude, and says, well, you are on a student visa and you are not supposed to work, And although the procedure was that you got a job and then you applied for a training visa, all that. So he just started fingerprinted me and all that. Luckily, I had a very good friend, the foreign student advisor at the university. So I called him because this is what's happening, and he called the local immigration people, the consulate or whatever, and they right away sent me a training visa and told the San Francisco guy, you know, that I am not in his jurisdiction. So, so I luckily stayed, and I then got permanent green card and all that kind of thing. And so I worked in both Northern and Southern California, and I actually uh, pretty much started the process of creating a formal Zoroastrian association in Los Angeles uh, with several other people. And then when I went to Northern California, I was asked to do something similar. So we started a formal organization there. And then I have served in both areas, in the executive committee. And when I realized that there was a shortage of practicing priests, then I basically heard one of our guys, Faribosh Shahzadi, at Zoroastrian Congress in Vancouver, saying that I am willing to train anyone to become a priest. So then I contacted him, and uh, after after a lot of interfaith on the net organized arguments, and because some of the regular priests were not very happy with that, and so finally the enlightened priest gave me the basic training, and then I started practicing whatever I could. So that's my little introduction. Now, as we all know, rituals are basically a set of actions that are performed according to a set procedure, um, whether it is prayers or whether it's any other kind of ritual. So as far as now, there is some difference in ritual between people from India, Pakistan, and probably people from Iran. Uh, but not too much difference. Some differences in prayers and all that. So my, of course, knowledge is more from the Parsi traditions standpoint. So some of the basic rituals are like initiation into the religion, formal initiation into the religion. And this can be done either in private, just the family may can do it in a temple or at home even. I've actually done, initiation at home of uh, a, a, integrated interfaith family. There was a father who was a Parsi and mother was a Muslim, and so their children they wanted to be, you know, initiated, and or you can have it a community, where you invite the community, your family and friends, and it can be at a particular commercial place. We have in Mumbai, we have all kinds of what they call uh, uh, compounds, they call them bags, and where, we have all the facilities, and so you can have it private or public kind of thing. My Navjot, we call it Navjot in the Gujarati word, for initiation. Uh, like over here, the Persians call Sedere Pushi, right? So, so I basically what we do is first of all, before that occasion of the initiation, we go to a priest's house to get training, some kind of a practice in the basic prayers, so that when we have that particular initiation ceremony, that we are able to, very easily um, go along with the priest in the prayers of initiation. So first thing, then on the day of the initiation, we would have to, before anything else, we would have a sacred bath, we call it Nan, Nahn, and in that sacred bath, the priest says a certain prayer before the person actually takes the bath. The traditional ritual is to sip a little bit of the, nowadays it's the pomegranate juice or something. and the priest says a certain prayer, and then the person takes a bath, and then it's usually a child, 5 years old, 7 year old, 9 year old, up to 11 year old, or something. Usually the female child, they do it earlier, because they're gonna publicly put on the sacred shirt and all that, right, at the ceremony. So, so after the bath, they put a little shawl around your top part of your body, and basically if it is a private thing, basically they come from the bathroom, of course, to wherever the prayer is to be done. In a public type of thing, you come out of that bath with the shawl on. The family, brings you. They might be accompanied. They will have like a tray of flowers, etc., and they might be sing some songs, usually in the Gujarati language. That's what they would do in India. And that, like a procession, family procession, go towards the stage. There will be a stage uh, specially made, and where the ceremony is performed. So they uh, they go there, and uh, the priests are there, and so the priest will, say certain prayers, and then he would put that white cotton um, undershirt on the body of the child, and then he would basically stand behind the child and start praying the uh, Koshti prayer. Uh, so it's the so he's and then the child repeats after him or says with him, and there is a woolen thread, that is composed of like 72 7 when it is woven, it's composed of 72 individual threads that are to represent the 72 chapters of the yasna, uh, which is a big prayer that the priests usually do in the temple and all that. And then basically that's what happened. The priest, kind of holds the hand of the child to kind of guide him on how to, uh, put that woolen thread around the waist. And so you could start one round around the waist, and then in front they say two Yatha prayers, and each Yatha prayer they tie a kind of a reef knot, uh, and then after those two knots in front, then they go in the back and they the Ashem Vahu prayer, and put on the first knot. And now different people may just do both the knots with the Ashem Vahu prayer. In my case, we were doing it with one Ashem Vahu and then the second knot with just Jasame Avange prayer. So so that is basically what is done, and the priest basically does some additional prayers, and then the family comes over and they put on the new clothes that they have bought, on the child, and then there is a sometimes they used to have a live band, for entertaining the guests. So guests are all sitting in front of the stage, the, depending on how big, there's so many chairs and all that kind of thing, and they are get a refreshments, and socializing, and then they will usually this navjot or initiation is done in the morning time. So then afterward they will all have a lunch together, catered lunch, and that's it, and people, of course, yeah, when after that prayer thing, after the family puts on the clothes and all that, the guests will come and and offer, some kind of a gift to the child, and of course the parents are there so they can hold them, all that kind of thing. So after all that, then they start all that entertainment thing going on, and that's it. After lunch, people go home. Then the other ritual occasion is the wedding. So in the wedding occasion, actually before the wedding day, there is a separate ritual called the Madesaro, engagement ritual. So, like in my case, I went over to my future wife's home, my in-laws' home, and there they, perform that ritual, which is basically some kind of you plant something, and there's a coconut, and they do some kind of um prayer for that, etc. And again, same thing, prayers and socializing, enjoyment. With your, clothes. I believe at that time, probably they put on the engagement ring, See, their families, they buy this engagement ring, wedding ring. Sometimes the uh, a person from my family and the other family, they might go together to purchase it, at the market. There's a special section in Mumbai called Javeri Bazaar, which means the uh, kind of jewelry market or something. So so then after that engagement type of thing, again people enjoy lunch or dinner, whatever it is, and then of course on the day of the prayer, they have again the wedding can be done in a private way. It can be done in a temple, or it can be done at the home of someone. I actually performed a wedding at an Iranian family's home, in Southern California. Uh, and one time I performed a wedding thing inside our temple in Northern California. Uh, so there again, before the prayers, etc., we start with the sacred bath again, because we believe in uh, cleanliness and purity of our physical body and our mind. Both of them have to be kept in a pure state. So after the bath, you go and put on some clothes, and you sit next to each other. If it is in a private place, like can be in a hall, um, or in the temple, but a hall has a bigger space for invited guests, so it might be there, or it could be, done like with a stage. But so in my case, it was in a hall next to the temple. It's part of that facility. And then what we do is uh, the both husband, I mean the bride and bridegroom, are sitting next to each other, and there is a little cotton or shawl type of a curtain between them, before the actual marriage is performed, right? So, and then basically behind the bride and the bridegroom, there is a witness, from their particular respective family. So it could be your father or uncle or someone, depending on who is available. And so then the priest, asks the wedding couple as to whether they are choosing this of their own free will to marry the other person. And they also ask the witnesses, that do you approve of this, So if anyone objects, then the wedding cannot be performed. So the democracy, So uh, so then once everyone agrees to that, then the priest, of course, there's a little fire, in a little small fire utensil uh, burning, and there is a tray of rice and tray of flowers, right? So the priest starts the prayer, and at a certain point, they start at every little sentence, and it's a prayer. In the prayer includes advice to the wedding couple, as to how you should love each other, and be faithful to each other, etc. And so they will throw a little, small amount of rice and flowers on them, right? And so they basically complete the wedding prayers, and then of course, you have uh, end of that ceremony. And then, of course, again, uh, there are photographers, they usually the family will have a photographer, professional photographer taking pictures. Again, it all depends on if it's a private thing, the family can just take their own pictures if they want. Um, and so that is the basic thing about the wedding ceremony. Of course, yeah, the wedding ring, that is put on and all that. Uh, then there is the funeral uh, occasion, and for the funeral occasion, what happens is that they clean the body, like a sponge bath type of thing of the dead body, and then the cover it, of course, with a white sheet, and then there are um, prayers done, and this can happen uh, at the home or wherever the body is um, for 3 evenings after sunset. There are special prayers to the kind of an angel Sarosha, or it's interpreted as your conscience or as a guardian angel. So, so there, because that particular entity, spiritual entity, is supposedly protecting the soul, uh, you know. So it's under the protection of that entity called Sarosha, Sarosh Yazada. Yazad means admirable, type of thing. So at 3 nights, the priest will do the prayers, and then of course the late night of the third night, there's something like around 2 o'clock at night or uh, 3 o'clock, something like that. Uh, there are a certain set of prayers that are done. Um, and then at the time of dawn, again there is a short set of prayers for that, and then after sunrise, the ceremony, with the flowers and fruits and all that in a tray, and we call it jashan, that is performed after sunrise, and then of course people enjoy that. But now depending on when the body is actually moved, uh, it can be on that same day. uh, Depends on if we have got the death certificate and all that, everything obtained. So then the body is moved. In America, I'm talking about. In India, it is basically on the same day. The body is taken to the disposal site, whether it is the Tower of Silence, as you may know, special place where the dead bodies are uh, kept, or it can be a crematorium, where the body is cremated. In America, it's kind of a little bit of a delayed system, you have to get all the death certificate, this, that, everything, and then the body is taken away to the disposal site. And usually you take it to like, for example, Rose Hills, disposal, burial site over there. There they will, before the body is actually taken from there, they will have kind of invited people, attending in a hall. As you may know, for other religions also, they have that facility, right? And so there is some prayer done over there, little bit, and then of course you have the family saying something, the eulogy performed, all that, and then of course the uh, body is taken to the actual burial site, or if it is cremation, then they take it to the cremation site. Now, uh, in general, before any kind of prayers, whether it's at home or at a temple, there is the ablution, ritual. So basically, you kind of rinse the exposed part of your body with water, you know, uh, before you start the prayer, before you enter the prayer room, etc. Um, and then, of course, the before any prayers, you start with the Kusti prayer, the one that you did at your initiation time, right? So basically, untying the kusti, the woolen thread, and then retying it, with that kusti prayer. And then, of course, you have the usually for the Jashan ceremony, you start with the Atash Nyayash, which is a prayer that is praising the fire, and the consecrated fire, in at home, or it can be at a temple. And then, you perform the actual Jashan ceremony. And in the Jashan ceremony, you have basically, a tray in which there are flowers and fruits, and then you also have there is a small fire, in a small container, and the priest, will be sitting uh, uh, next to that tray, and what you have is then there is a certain uh, way the particular flowers are going to be put in the tray, like three flowers on the left side, top to down, three flowers on the right side, top to down, and then two flowers uh, closer to the priest uh, that are facing vertical, the other flowers are like placed horizontally. And so during the Jashan prayer, we have a little bit of milk and water and wine, things like that also uh, surrounding that. And so then the priests will do the Jashan prayers, depending on what kind of a Jashan it was. I'm talking in general about Jashan, not about funeral or wedding or anything, but any Jashan. And then you have so different types of Jashan you have. You can have it for when you settle in a new apartment or a new house, so kind of inauguration type of thing, religious, and or you're starting a new business, and you may want to have a Jashan ceremony performed for that prayer ceremony, um, or it is like we initiation, wedding, funeral, any kind of a special. Sometimes people just want to have it done as for happiness, and again they might invite people or not invite people, depends on that. So the priest will be there, and he will basically perform that Jashan ceremony. So that's about uh,
Thank you.
what I would say, is a very brief introduction, and feel free to ask any questions.
Yeah, please raise your questions. It's interesting. Thank you so much, but Bhujwala, it was very informative. And I see a little bit of differences, as you said, between the Iranian and Parsi
Yeah,
tradition, especially in terms of what we call Seder Pushi, because like the Zarathustrian assembly, we do it for adults, because
right,
after all, King Vishdaspa, according to tradition, was an adult when he
right, right,
accepted Zarathustrian message. So, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, in Iran, we usually do 15-year-old, which was an
right,
ancient Persian age of consent,
right, right.
15. So there are some differences, but thank you.
Sure.
Please go ahead. Akbar, you have a question? Please go ahead.
Good morning to everyone. Thank you, Mubed.
Good
Uh,
morning.
I have one question. You said they pray fire prayers. I want to know which one. Is it Khorshid Yasht or Khorshid Niayesh or
Well,
any?
for the fire, it depends on, like, okay, if you like, our daily prayers. I probably didn't mention that. That's kind of another procedure where we will usually outside we will face the sun, in the daytime. At night time, if we are outside, we can face the moon, or the
Okay.
stars, any kind of a illuminating source. But in the house, we can have a candle, uh, sometime even just the electric light, can be serve as the kind of source, that you face, right? So just like Christianity, they will face the wooden cross or metal cross. The Hindus might face some kind of idol of a deity. The Muslims will have the writings of the Quran, and also they usually face the Mecca, right? The Kaaba. So everyone, we because God is unseen, so we all need average person. We are not philosophers, and we need some concrete force to face, when we are praying to God. So
No, exactly. This fire prayer that in funeral is cited. Which one exactly? Tell me the name in Persian. Is it in Khorda Avesta?
It is
Where?
Ateş Nyayesh, probably.
Ateş Nyayesh, yeah.
It's Ateş Nyayesh.
In front of the fire, you start with the Ateş Nyayesh.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
which means praising the fire, as and thanking God for creating this fire, great creation, type of.
oh,
And so
thank.
again, fire is again a symbolic thing. It's not only the physical fire. So like in the Ateş Nyayesh, we talk about thanking the fire for allowing us to cook the food, right? Uh, and and, uh, and then there is the mental fire, or mental illumination that removes the darkness. Physically, the fire burns, anything that is dirty, because fire cannot be polluted, right? It burns up everything that is put on it or that it come across. So now, one thing interesting was that when I visited Washington, D.C., on the railway station on top, it says fire was man's greatest discovery. It made man civilized. Because before that, human beings were eating raw meat and all raw food, whatever, right? So then, with the discovery of the fire, basically they started, using the fire for cooking and all that kind of things.
So my question is, in the funeral, we have the fire prayers and which prayers? Only fire prayer, or what prayers we have to read in funeral?
Well, the Ateş Nyayesh is the main prayer in front of the fire. You start that, and then you can do the kushti. I mean, of course, after the kushti is the first one, and then you do the Ateş Nyayesh prayer, and then you can pray any other prayer that you want to.
Thank you, Akbercan. Let's go to
Thank you.
the other people. I have one question, and then Demona. Mobedyar Bhujwala, as you know, we have built like a temple, shrine outside. Thanks to my husband who built it in Portland, and we are thinking to do a jash, but we're not allowed to do fire there because it's in middle of redwood forests.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Can we use battery candles and stuff for that?
That's as I said, you can use a electric light, or it could be a battery type of thing. Even like the Hindus, like Indian community, when we have functions, we something part in the beginning they say lighting the fire or something, right?
Yeah.
So nowadays they just give those battery type thing, So,
Right.
yeah.
Wanted to make sure it's kosher. Thank you so
Right.
much. Demona, go ahead.
Hello everyone again. I asked my question first, but you said I'm repeating it again. My question is more from Iran, people of Iran, of my family and my friends. They want to know how they can back to their roots and be Zoroastrian again. And that's my question. Just that.
I didn't quite clearly get it. Can you repeat it? Or did you get it, Rebecca?
Yeah. The one is asking that people from Iran
Right.
are inquiring how they can go back to
Oh,
Zoroastrian
okay.
religion.
Okay.
I
Okay. Yeah.
mean, it is very
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
that is
very dangerous.
yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, you know, we have see in India what happened. You know that when we applied for asylum in India, we had to agree to certain conditions of that local ruler. You know, in the Gujarat, a small kingdom, right? Uh, and one of his condition was, besides learning the local language and wearing the local dress, you know, so that we don't stand out as foreigners, and then also that you do not convert our people to your religion. Okay, so in India we basically had that promise, which is recorded, and so in India we basically don't allow, you know, conversions to happen at least formally, you know, and informally anything can happen. So, but in America we don't have that problem. And again, here in America we have some Orthodox people, you know, who are against, you know, some ultra Orthodox. You know, all Orthodox are not as same, but some ultra Orthodox are very much against any kind of um, accepting, you know, anyone from outside the uh, Parsi parents or something like that. You know, but you know, nowadays most of the association, they are becoming much more open, and I myself participate when they are doing Sadr Pushi of some new people who are joining from Iran or even from America, and I just do the prayers. Now, I tell them not to publicize me because there's another priest also, you know, Mobed Debu, and I say, because, you know, some of these Orthodox might try to get me into trouble, you know, with the authorities, you know, the priest council, Parsi priest council. So I say, just keep it quiet, you know, but I do join them and I do prayers. And see, now what's happening over here at our Sadra Pushi that we do in, like, in a park or something, you know, Artemis Javanshir and they Fariba, they organize that. And there, basically, the candidates that want to convert, you know, to the Zoroastrian religion, they perform their own tying the woolen thread around the waist. You know, they are educated beforehand about the ceremony and all that, but they do it themselves. So if someone uh, get, kind of criticizes me, how come you are doing conversion? You are not supposed to do, you know, and all that, priest council and all that. So I can say that, you know, well, I'm not doing it. I'm just being a witness, you know, that kind of thing, and I'm doing a little blessing, you know, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, it's you should contact this. I think there is a committee in the California Zoroastrian Center, or, you know, even in the I think Federation of Zoroastrian Associations. They have a education committee or something, and you can contact any of those. You can probably contact the whatever place of worship that is close to you, and they can provide you information about that. But you know, then yeah.
Yeah, Mobedyar Bhujwala, do you do ceremonies over Zoom at all? Can it be, or does it have to be in person, in your opinion?
Pardon?
Would you do a Sedre Pushi, an initiation ceremony over Zoom for
Oh,
people?
yeah. Actually, I have not done that over Zoom, but my other colleague, you know,
Yeah,
Mobedyar, you know, Biram Debu,
yeah,
he has actually done that, you know, over Zoom. Yeah,
yeah, I've seen him.
and again, he coordinates with Artemis, you know,
Yeah, our
Javanshi.
Artemis is here. Hey, Artemis John, welcome.
Hi, Artemis, how are you?
Yes,
So,
I
so
think that,
Hello, everyone. Great talk, Mobedyar. Thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
yeah, we're very pleased and thankful for Mobedyar Bhujwala who accepted our invitation. I hope that answered your question, Damanajan. I mean, in Iran, it's really tough. You can't
Yeah,
do
Iran, you know, Iran is totally
in
different.
Iran,
Yeah,
you can't do that. You know,
Yeah.
they
because
have
the reason they are not bothering us
yeah,
or Zoroastrians is because we are not converting. If they hear of converting, then they can crack down, you know.
yeah,
So, yeah.
unfortunately, yeah. I think Caleb had a question, and then we go to Dr. Kumar. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
You are-
welcome.
And Rebecca John, my name is Domona.
Domona.
Yeah.
Sorry. Domona.
It's
Sorry.
because its meaning is different because of that.
Domona. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry. You're welcome. I'm sorry. I'm really bad in names and faces and yeah, other things. Anyways, I thought Caleb.
Yeah,
John,
I just lowered my hand because I was about to start.
yeah.
So my question is about initiation rituals, Sedra-Pushi Navjo, particularly the future of these. If organizations like the Assembly and other organizations are successful in bringing a lot more American Zoroastrians, Americans, people like myself who were not born in it or have no ethnic ties to be Zoroastrian, if we're successful in bringing enough people in, I think it's going to cause a bit of an issue with the amount of mobeds and mobedyars and how these rituals are performed. So I was kind of curious what you think the future is, whether or not it needs to be conducted by a mobed. And I guess if there's a lot of people who are wanting to get this done, how should we go about it in the future?
Yeah, maybe Artemis might be able to answer that better.
Hi, everyone. Since it's a Zarathustrian assembly session, I rather one of the assembly members chimes in.
I mean, I could technically answer my own question. I was more so curious about your opinion and how you think things should be handled.
It's okay if you don't have any comments either, Mobedyar Bhujwala. That's okay. You don't want to
Right.
put in a response.
Yeah, because that depends on the particular organization that is sponsoring, people to come from Iran. Is that what you are asking? Like how they, right? So, that as far as what is the procedure that they have set up, for sponsoring anyone from Iran or something.
Let me ask a more specific question. How do you think Sedra-Pushis and Navjot should be handled for American converts, especially if there's a large amount of these? Should these be done just by mobeds, or can other learned Zoroastrians perform?
Yeah, I think according to our California Zoroastrian Center, it has to be done by a mobed or what they call mobedyar. For example, I am a mobedyar because I am not from the priest family, but I got training. Of course, I was already fluent in prayers and all that. And so then the North American Mobed Council, basically they did the training for me. I happened to be the very first person who became a mobedyar, because before that they didn't have it, and I had to go through a lot of arguments and things with the people who were resisting that. Finally, the enlightened priests, they did my training, and I've got a certificate, certified and ordained and all that kind of thing. So in the California Zoroastrian Center, as I know it, that they require that it should be done by a mobed or mobedyar. Right.
So it all depends on the organization. Really,
right.
Some organizations, they don't really care, like Zarathustrian Assembly, Dr. Jafari was.
Yeah, exactly.
But he was learned enough.
See, you can become a Zoroastrian by following the teachings of Zarathustra. You don't even have to have any initial. It's a matter of becoming a member. As of an organization that they will have certain rules. How they will accept you.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, Caleb John. Dr. Kumar, go ahead, please.
Hello. First of all, I'd like to give a special Kheli Mamnoon Tashakor to Rebecca Hanum and her husband, Louis. I think I'm saying it right. Louise, maybe? Louis?
Yeah.
Very French sounding. For
yes, he's French.
Wonderful shrine that they have completed. He did a lot of work, actually, and I think he needs recognition. And if any of you want to see, it's in our Oregon area here. So now I can get my formal Sedra-Pushi done. Of course, Navjot you'd say in India, but because my family would call it that way. I have it all right in front of me. I have the the shirt and I have the thread and everything I've ordered from officially. What I really appreciate, Mobedyar Bhujwala, that you talked about in Gujarat, everything that happened, that was a very, very, very emotional moment in
Oh, yeah.
for my family.
Right.
And it happened in the city of Sanjan.
I see.
And actually there was in Sanjan, Gujarat, where there's a fire.
Yeah, Sanjan is where they first settled.
And so what we did was, of course, my son is Sanjay Arman II, but our daughter, who was born just 4 years ago,
I see.
great sentiment. We named her after that area because of the historical significance. So she's Sanjana Shali Shahrazad.
I see.
And that is why we named her after that, because that was the time when the Persians came in as refugees, made a agreement with the Maharaja there that
Right.
we'll mix sugar into milk, and they did it right in front of the people, in front of them, saying that we're going to blend with India this way, kind of like our family talks about this.
Right.
Actually, I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, in Iran, those days, the conversion part, just to kind of piggyback off of what Caleb was asking, I think, I want to be humble about this, probably as the religion, the faith expanded beyond into greater Persia, they call it, there were people being converted. I think it was more specific to the people coming into India, like you already alluded to, saying that the Maharaja and that area, they are the ones that said, please do not convert anyone. It was more like a sort of localized law.
That is
not in particular. Otherwise, it was kind of to keep also then later on, the Iranis, like my family members and all, thought, let's keep everything sort of pure. Unfortunately, that sort of happened. But
I think that is because of, we are such a small population that if we open the gates, totally without any regulation or something, that our ethnic identity would become diffused and become extinct, right? So that is the fear, like you can look at the Native Americans in America, okay? They all run through the same problems, and then they have set up certain rules, that, okay, or depending on the tribes, that, okay, if you are half Indian, Native American, then we accept you in our tribe, or maybe a quarter Native American, so it's an adaptation process, how to do it. And the ultra-Orthodox were kind of very rigidly against, but the majority people are more accepting. And actually, we shouldn't be even calling it conversion for Iran, because it's more of a reversion,
Reversion, exactly.
They are reverting to their original ancient faith.
Yeah, and I wanted to thank you. I wanted to point out to our next program, I just want to alert you that we have on September 17, we have a program with Professor Toledo talking about the history of Zoroastrian canon, and I put the information there in the chat just to let you know. I thought, Domanajan, did you have a question? I thought your hand was raised, but if not, is there any other question before we leave for today? Anybody comments?
Rebecca John, Human is with me too, and he's asked that is it possible for us to start to educate for Sedra Pushi?
Yes, let's talk about that. We'll chat with you and Artemis, offline, and definitely go through that. There is definitely possible, of course. And we have Dr. Mobedyar Bhujwala. We have here my friend Steve. He is he did his Sedra Pushi in the Fire Temple in San Jose.
Oh,
he is the one and only one. American who has done that in, I don't know what, 2005 was it still? Dr. Jafari came up to San Jose and did the Bushi. So he's a unicorn here.
I see.
Your Zoom died completely? Come and join us then. My husband said, well, we are almost out, I think. If anybody has any questions, you're welcome to put your question. And this is Louis, who built our shrine with thousands of hours of work.
Louis, may I say bahut bahut shukriya. I think Mobed Bhujwala, you know Hindi, probably Urdu. So thank you so much.
I know Hindi, a little bit of
Tashakkur,
Urdu.
Heli Mamnoon, Mutashakkaram for the work you did.
Yeah, you're very
I look
welcome.
forward to meeting you and
Yeah.
Rebecca Khanum
Yes.
when I get
Pretty
my
soon.
Sadre Pushi done
Yes.
ceremony in Oregon at your shrine. I
Right.
especially love the Paravahar that you have on top of the shrine. I
Yeah,
don't know
Pravahar,
where you
right.
got that from, but it's gorgeous.
Right.
Great
Yeah, we
job.
did. A local woodmaker did that for
Oh,
us.
wow.
Yeah, the rest of it was hand carved. All
Oh.
the inscriptions inside were hand carved.
Inscription, Louis did all the
Oh,
inscriptions.
oh, is that right?
my.
Yeah,
Very
Very
good.
tough.
Yeah.
the
This is-
Ashambohu and the
Where is that?
Happy
Is that in your place in Oregon or?
Yes, in
Oh,
near
okay.
Portland.
Yeah, it's in Portland. It's in an ashram, a Vedanta ashram that gives reverence to all the paths that humans tend to follow.
All the
Right.
And so now we have the oldest and, in my opinion, greatest properly represented. And I feel it's,
Good.
I've gotten a lot of great compliments.
I compliment you for
We're
that.
already getting requests. People want to get married there. They're not even Zoroastrian.
And lots of, you know,
ask us, can
one
we-
of the most beautiful things was in working with it. People wanted to learn about Zoroastrianism, and I explained to them that this is a teaching shrine. Everything you need to know to be the basics of Zoroastrianism is self-contained.
And if you don't have a local priest, you know, in your area where someone wants to do a marriage or whatever, you know, then I sometimes have gone, you know, like I went from Los Angeles area to San Jose several years ago. This is one of our Parsi Irani cardiologist guy married to I think the girl was from Norway or Sweden or something. And so they actually had two kind of weddings. You know, one was at the Sikh temple in San Jose. Her name was Olivia, you know, and because apparently that was her host family or something. So first the wedding was performed over there, and then after a break, you know, then we had the wedding. I performed the wedding thing at our Zoroastrian temple, you know. Although I told them, you know, you have a local priest over there, why don't you contact him? But apparently I had met them before, and they said, no, we want you to do it, you know. Apparently they like me so much. But even I have been to, for doing jashans, you know, I've been to Tucson, Arizona, you know, they just basically pay for my airfare, you know, stuff like that. And so I try to serve the community as much as possible.
That's great. Thank you so much for your services, Mobedyar Bhujwala. It's a pleasure. I think Akbar has a question, and then after that, I think we'll sign off. Go ahead.
Okay.
I have a question about the Indus River, Hapta Hindu. In Vandidad, the 16th land that Ahura Mazda created is Hapta Hindu. I want to know, for Parsis, Indus River, Sand River is holy, is sacred, or any ritual regarding Indus River?
You're talking of, you're saying Hapta Hindu?
Hapta Hindu in Vandidad. Hapta Hindu is a land that created by Ahura Mazda. So I want to know, for Parsis, is sacred Indus River, Sand River?
No, I really don't know about that.
I don't know.
And see, this Vandidad is basically a book of laws, right? And that was written much after the Muslim invasion happened. You know, it was written, this and several other scriptures were written during the time when the Muslims were ruling. You know, it was a very difficult time. You know, and so sometimes they might have taken in some foreign ideas, you know, included them in the scripture. But so I kind of focus on the gathas as the basic principles. And then, other prayers also have sentences from the gatha, like Atasnyayas, there are a few sentences from the gathas, quotations. And as long as as long as you are not violating the basic principles of the gathas, I don't have any problem. But if you are violating, even if you are Parsi or Zoroastrian, and if you violate the principles, by the way you practice the religion, then that is not right. And because that causes all this problem. Look at Iran and all. They are not practicing the Quran, they are doing things on their own, whatever the tradition, they pay more attention to tradition and custom,
Yeah, our
Exactly.
concentration in the Zarathustrian assembly is the Gathas and our core teachings and what we follow.
Exactly.
Is not on the list, really.
Right.
Simo John, go ahead, ask a question, then we can maybe sign off.
Okay, thank you for giving me opportunity. I know you guys are looking forward to leave, but just want to mention Dr. Jafari was doing conversion for a long time.
Right.
So
and I was doing it too. I mean, I was doing the ceremony under his authorization. At least 20 people, I did the ceremony for them. Dr. Jafari authorized me because I've been doing this for so long. I've been the member of the assembly for so long. So
I think that,
really doesn't matter,
After that, he passed the torch to you and also to Dr. Mackey.
Yeah.
Assembly gonna start doing that soon.
Yeah. Caleb John, do you have the last word?
Okay, I was actually just wanting to answer Akbar's question. In Vendidad 1, it's which seems to be taken from somewhere else in the Avesta, but that's a different topic. Those are just nations. You also have Heraclite, which is Arachosia, which shows up in the Achaemenid Empire, but that's also the same name, just in Iranian, of the sacred Sarasvati River in Hinduism, but it's just treated as a nation there. I think also in that same chapter you get Rangha for Rasa in Sanskrit, that sacred river. But in the Avesta, it's very clear those are just nations, although some seem a little bit kind of far away for the people composing it. So I wouldn't think that the Hapta Hindu is a sacred river to Zoroastrians, more so that at least maybe like 700 BC, it was just the name of the people that lived.
What it is, that there is the river Sindhu, okay, and the Persians actually are the ones who created the term Hindu, okay, because the Persians, they pronounce the S like a H, just like Mexican, we say Jorge instead of George, or Jorge or something. So they basically, they created the word Hindu. What they meant was the people who lived south of the river Sindhu, and that's probably the origin of the word Hindu also.
Hey, thank you so much for Mobedyar Bhujwala. Thank you, Caleb John, for insight onto that word. I had no idea. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. It was a pleasure to have you, all of you here with us. And until next time, see you on September 17 at 9 a.m. Pacific time with Dr. Toledo Fezano, Professor of Languages, talking about the history of Zoroastrian canon. Until then, goodbye and best wishes.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.